want all of you to ask yourself a question. It's about your future, so think before you answer. Is your future in your hands or in someone else's? Because most of us already have a reason. It could be it's our passion. It could be because of money. Or maybe our parents already decided for us. For me, it was just the same, where I was stuck in this phase where I didn't know what I was doing and I had no purpose. And I decided, it's time to do something important. I just didn't know what it was. So what did I do? I asked people around me who were already successful. And at that time, most of the people I saw were somehow into sales. And I thought to myself, sales is something that no business can survive without. Sales is something that brings me money and maybe even respect. So I was like, why not? And the first thing, if I'm being honest with you, was I didn't care about who told me what. I was actually inspired by a movie. How many of you have heard of the movie The Wolf of Wall Street? It talks about a young guy named Jordan Belfort. Now, Jordan leaves his hometown and moves to New York, mainly to make a new name for himself. His whole purpose is to redefine himself. So, he starts off working as a stockbroker. And he works at the lowest level. No one really even cares. Who is Jordan? Slowly, he climbs his way up. He gets bigger deals, bigger clients, and soon enough, he decides it's time to open my own business. And he does, and he becomes the #1 name in the entire industry. When you think of Wall Street, you think of Jordan Belfort as the investment guy. Then, as he gets to this point, he starts to get a bit greedy. Everyone he sees around him somehow becomes a transaction. How can I take something from him? How can I take something from him? And in the end of the movie, he loses everything. Now, 18-year-old me didn't see the part where he loses everything. I just saw the part that Jordan has all the fame, everyone loves him, and he's making a lot of money. And I thought, why not get into sales? So I did. I applied to over 100 jobs the next morning, and one day, randomly, I got an email for the first company, which said, you're invited to an interview to work as a stockbroker. And it clicked. Why not? I showed up to their office the next morning. I sat there, and I heard the person speak just for 5 minutes. I took the job. I had zero idea what even were stocks at that time. I had zero idea who I'd be selling to. And they called me to work from the next morning. So here I was, an 18-year-old kid, in an office with over 150 people, double my age. Everyone was selling to millions, to millionaires, and I was just there. A few people even came and told me, are you lost? And I was like, maybe I am. At that moment, I was like, I want to live like Jordan. So what did I do? I started calling over 100 people every single day. Hey, Sunny, this is Ahad here. I'm just calling about an amazing opportunity I have in the US stock market. I just want to understand if... Hello? Sunny? Hey, Dan, this is Ahad. I have an amazing opportunity. Just want to understand. And over time, I did this day and day. And to me, honestly, it didn't feel that bad. I was excited. I was like, I'm doing something that no one around me is doing. While all of my friends are making plans for university, I'm getting real-world experience. And I continued that way until one day, when I was making the most money I could ever make, some things just didn't sit right with me about the company I was working for that I forgot to research about. The company kept saying for every million dirhams we bring into the company, we only keep 10,000. But then every single month, they were taking over 100 employees to the most luxurious resorts you could imagine. The best 5-star hotels around the world, gifting people Rolexes. And something in my gut told me there's something wrong about this. You know when you have that feeling that something's wrong, but you just can't put your finger on it? That's what I had. And at the age of 18, I walked into my office the next morning, and I resigned. And every single person I spoke to that day told me the same thing. Ahad, you're making a big mistake. You're never going to get an opportunity like this. You're a kid. Why are you doing this? You're the top seller in the company. What's wrong with you? Are we doing something wrong? And when I went to my family, they said the same thing. Ahad, why would you stop when you're doing so well? And somewhere I had a small doubt that, yeah, maybe they're right. Maybe I am making a mistake. But for a second, I trusted my inner compass, which told me that you don't need to do this. So after all of this, I'm sure you guys are thinking, after I resign, I must have thought of the next step really carefully, right? Well, I did the exact opposite. I went on, I got the first new shiny opportunity I got. I worked maybe 2-3 months, didn't work out, I went to the next one. And then the next one. 3 years of my life went by like this, switching jobs every single month, having no stability, because I had no purpose. I did everything from working as a stockbroker to selling mobile packages all the way to selling 220 million dirhams worth of real estate. Now, as I say that, I realize that sounds crazy. Before I turned 22, I'm selling 220 million? You're insane. How don't you have a purpose? But to be honest with you, I was just taking the next logical step. If I'm making money, make some more. If I'm making more money, make even more. And one day, before I turned 22 years old, I walked into my home. I had just closed a really big deal just before that, and I broke down. Not because I was a failure, but because I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I didn't want to be remembered for the guy who calls me at 12 a.m. selling me something. I really didn't. I wanted to have a purpose. So what did I do? I made the best decision I could have ever made. I took a week off work. And all I did for that week was think, what does Ahad want to be remembered for? What should my legacy be? And one thing, even when I had no motivation, that inspired me was a note that I wrote to myself when I was 20 years old. The note talks about how I want to be remembered. This one note changed the entire trajectory of my life. I decided that I need to do something that I'm really passionate about. And AI was still a buzzword back then. So what did I do? I started my first business, which is called Hunty AI. Now, Hunty AI is really simple. It's an AI tool finder that helps you find the right AI tool for any task. Let's say you want to write your TEDx speech and you want to shorten it. You can put a simple prompt into Hunty AI, and in a few seconds, it's going to give you 3 tools that do exactly what you want done. It even tells you if it's free or if it's paid. Now, the purpose of making Hunty AI wasn't to make money. It was because I had something that I was really passionate about, which was AI, and I wanted to share it with others. But I knew not everyone wants to learn coding. Not everyone wants to become an AI prompt engineer. And that's exactly why I've still kept this free to use. Now, if I'm being very honest with you, I still don't have my life figured out. Every single day I'm learning. But one thing I know for sure is it's my journey that I've decided. And soon, everyone in this room is going to be faced with a similar decision. When your family comes to you and your friends come to you and ask, okay, Ahad, what exactly do you want to do now? You're graduating. Okay, you've graduated. Now, amazing. What job do you want to get into? Before you rush to give them an impressive answer, something that sounds smart. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an engineer. Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. Before you do that, take a second to pause and think, is this really how I want to be remembered for? Because the worst thing that could happen is you wake up 20 years later from today and you realize you're not even living your own life. So what I want everyone in this room to do right before you leave is ask yourself, if no one were to make fun of me, nor judge me for being too ambitious, what would I be doing with my life? Thank you for having me.